Welcome back to my series of videos on how to make little Easter animals. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a lovely Easter bunny. I'll just swap cameras so you can see what I'm going to do. This time I'm using Saracino modelling paste to make my little white bunny. I'm also using a cut edge board, 4 inches, same as my other videos. I'm using Cadbury Creme eggs, but use anything egg size. Let's start. Previously, I've made my other animals using sugar paste and marzipan. You can, of course, use sugar paste for this, but I want my rabbit to be white and marzipan is an off-white colour. So to make the feet, I want the feet quite big. So I'm going to start with the ball and cut it in half. If you want 2 things the same size, you should always start with the ball and cut it. So I'm putting that back into a bowl, rolling it into a cone shape. Move both hands at the same time. You don't press very hard, and you'll get a nice gentle cone. By moving both hands, it keeps everything nicely rounded. So having made my 2 cones, just going to gently press the top. I don't want to press too much because this is his paws. And I'm going to use a soft knife to put 2 lines in. And that's going to be the claws. I'm using some melted chocolate, which I have in a mug beside me with a paintbrush. And I put that into a saucepan with boiling water so that it stays warm for the duration. Stick his 2 paws on like that. I like to put these at a little bit of an angle and attach them down. The egg needs to be stuck well into those paws. And this time, unlike my other videos, I'm using my egg standing up to give it a nice body. Putting some chocolate on, and I'm pressing that down quite firmly so it goes right in, and there's my little paws at the same time. Make sure it's actually standing straight. If it's not standing straight, you'll find in a few minutes it'll start leaning when you put your head on. You want to make sure the center of gravity is going straight down all the time. I'm going to add 2 front paws on because my rabbit is sitting upright. The ball cut in half, so I've just got 2 little balls. I just need to turn this around to make sure I get these evenly. So I'm just putting a little bit of chocolate either side of that. And just hold that. Just gently hold it there, about the count of 5. Remember, chocolate only melts at body temperature, so as soon as it starts to cool down, it solidifies again. So it makes it a great glue for these. I'm just going to put a couple of little markings on those as well. So there's his front little paws. Markers not quite deep enough. There we go. Going to make my head now. And again, just pop the head on and see, do you like the size of it? That's about right. So I need to manipulate this and make sure there's absolutely no cracks in it. So it's a beautiful, smooth shape. I'm going to stick this on the top. Put a little bit of chocolate right at the very, very top. Don't put too much on. And I'm going to gently push that head down ever so slightly. So you can see it's sitting really nicely. Just check it straight. You need to look at that straight on just to make sure it's straight. I'm going to add a little pink nose. This is sugar paste. Doesn't matter, you can mix mediums when you're doing these quite happily. You'll have noticed in some of my other videos, I've used marzipan and sugar paste on the same animal. This, I'm just going to use a tiny drop of water to stick on because I don't want to put chocolate in that white because it might stick where it come out where it shouldn't. Okay, tiny little nose. I'm going to use a modeling tool. That's a smiley face, just to give a smiley face underneath. And underneath the nose as well. You can add whiskers if you like. Just use a cocktail stick. Not using any fancy tools here. If you don't have a modeling tool, all you have to do is cut a straw in half and you will get that shape. These demos are designed so you can do them at home with children with absolutely no equipment, just your hands and a paintbrush. I've just given nice big eye sockets, which I will fill with a bit of royal icing. I'm using royal icing because I have it already made up. If you don't have royal icing, you just put a tiny ball of paste in there. So I'm just going to fill that socket up nicely. Don't want to overfill it because it'll make it look like a bit like a monster. And I'll leave that to skin off for a minute while I do his ears and his bobtail. I'll add his bobtail first, because that gives the chocolate holding his head an extra chance of sticking properly. The little tail will go on the back. You can just stick a ball on if you like, but I like to rough it up a bit with my knife. You've seen me do this on other videos. And I'm just all directions, and this just makes it look a bit like fur. It has kind of flattened it against my board, but it stayed nice and fluffy at the top. Again, I'm just going to stick this on with a tiny bit of chocolate. Try and make sure you keep your chocolate right in the middle. And that bobtail will just go on the base. There. Quite close to the bottom of your egg. Again, hold that to the count of 3 or 5. As soon as it stops sliding, you know it's stuck. I'm going to make some nice ears now. I like to do the ears with 2 colours. So what I'm going to do is start with the ball, cut in half, of white. So this is about the size of a Malteser, and this will give me nice big ears. Again, I just want to make sure they're both the same size. It's surprisingly difficult to cut a circle completely in half accurately. There we are. They are about the same size. I'm doing well today. And I'm going to use a tiny bit of pink as well. Now, the ball of pink that I'm going to use is smaller than one of those, because I just want this as the inside of the ear. I'm just manipulating this to get it nice and soft. You want to get the elasticity back into your paste. Cut that in half, and again, leave that as a little ball. I'm now going to make all of these into cones. I don't want it to be too long. So there's my first cone, and there's a pink one to match. And you can see the pink one is a lot smaller. Flatten your white just fractionally, a bit like we did with the feet. So you can see I've just flattened the top. Don't go too mad flattening. I'm going to stick my pink cone on the top and get my paintbrush and push my paintbrush in the two. And that's going to just give it a little twirl. That's giving me a lovely shape ear. You can see the sides are coming out really pretty. And it's going to be about the right height for my bunny. Try not to make them too big because they can fall off if you make them too big. You shouldn't need any kind of glue holding these ears together. The paste, if they're fresh, will stick themselves. If you run into trouble and they're not sticking together, again, I just use a tiny bit of water rather than chocolate to do this bit. There we go. A nice shape here. Just going to give that an extra little twirl at the side. Sometimes when you see things at a slightly different angle, you can see an extra piece that shouldn't be there. I want to make sure the base is flat, because if that base is too rounded, it's not going to stick in my head easily. I'm going to use water to stick this down because, again, I just don't want the chocolate coming out. So I'm just going to, right at the top of the head, tiny bit of water and really small amounts. And then you're going to pop the ear on. Same on the other side. Flatten that. I like to put the water on the head rather than on the ear, because then when you put the ear in the right place, it will stick. I'm just pressing, making sure that those are well pressed down with my paintbrush. And there's my rabbit with the little ears. I'm going to just give those a little bit of movement because I think it looks nicer to have the ears rather than straight up. If you wanted to do a floppy-eared rabbit, obviously you'd put those hanging down. I'm going to add, with a very fine paintbrush, the eyes. Bit of colour for the eyes. I've just got a little bit of water there, and I'm using blue sugar flare colour. I'm just going to take a tiny bit out and put it on the side of a cup or a palette, and I'm just going to paint 2 eyeballs. Put both eyeballs in the same part of the eye to make it look like he's looking in one direction. Never try and put them straight, because if you put them straight, they always look cross-eyed. There we are. Now look how cute is he. Really cute. And I, like my other ones, I really have to give him a few eggs to hold on to. You could make a little basket for him to hold the eggs, but I'm just going to put some eggs around his feet as if he's dropped them. I'm using Cadbury mini eggs and Terry's mini eggs. You used to be able to get little micro eggs, and if you can get those, they're lovely for the basket, but I haven't seen them this year. But it's really nice to have those because you can actually put some in his hands as well. These are a little bit big for his hands. These are the Terry's eggs. Very vibrant. I wasn't expecting them to be this colour when I purchased them. But actually, in with my other eggs, they look lovely. Good blob of chocolate on the edge of these because I want them to hold. One more, I think. And that's my little rabbit. I have put Easter bonnets on all my other animals, but I don't think he needs it. There he is. What I would do with him then is wrap him in some cellophane, bunch it up and tie a bow, and he's an absolutely gorgeous gift. Hope you've enjoyed this video and that you'll come back to watch some more videos at another stage.